You will now be placed into the conference.
Hello everyone. Just make sure everyone's on mute. There we go.
Just get somebody to pop up on the messages to make sure they can hear you.
Can everyone hear me okay? If you could just drop me a quick message and then I'll get started.
Yes.
Okay. And if anyone's got the audio on, if they could just mute it for now, and then any messages, if we could just type in on the chat, that would be great. And then we can ask questions throughout the webinar. Perfect. Okay, so there's a few things that we're going to cover today. The first is our new launch of the Genius blocks. So I'll go over that in detail. There's the marketing list segmentation. So I'm going to go over how we can make better use of the engaged and unengaged contacts. And finally, I'm going to show you a quick trick in terms of hosting a PDF very quickly so we can have this on our microsites. So I'll start with the email templates within the first instance. So everyone should be familiar with how to build emails. We'll go to our account templates in the first instance. And when you go to layout mode, you'll notice now that there's an eye icon over one of these blocks. So let me just copy a few of them. There we go. So you can see now I've got two of the same block. Let's say I'm going to change this one very quickly. So this one might have another word in. So let's put motoring for now. Oh, sorry. Or another link. There we go. Save element. If I go to the layout, what I can do now on this eye icon, if I click on the eye icon, I can manage who sees this block. So let's say within your data set, you've got 4 different industry types. Perhaps it's, motoring, hospitality, and you want to split out the email and you want maybe the hero image. You want different segments of your database to see a different hero image or a different piece of text. You can now show or hide those blocks to specific marketing lists. So if I show in this instance, let's say I've got an engaged list called geography segment. What will happen is anyone in that list will only see that particular segment. Click save, done. Everyone else will see the rest of the email. Same with this segment. Show or hide. Perhaps I want to hide it in this instance. Click 40 plus lead score, show or hide. Scroll down. If I then want to duplicate this, I can click the copy icon. Copy that. Back to my snippets and click save. Go back to my content. You'll see on the content editor, it will look like this. You'll still have the ability to edit those blocks. But if I go on my content, and I just very quickly manage who can see that. Hang on, just click save. You'll see now there's an eye icon by next to them. Can you see that there? If I click save and back to content, that's when I'll start to edit those particular blocks. I'll say maybe this one's segment A. If I click on the text box, invert color, segment A, save element, back to component. Hang on, I think someone's also editing this email at the same time. They are. No wonder that wasn't working. Let me go on this one. I'll duplicate this one instead. And click back to snippets and save. There we go. So that's my marketing lists. You've now got the eye icon at the side of it. That's showing you that those blocks are either hidden or only can be seen by a certain person in a marketing list. And then if I go back to my content, that's when I can start to edit it. Any questions on that bit so far? So, Kelsey, can you create a background image with text over it like we've done? So, yes, you can. The limitations to be aware of is that not everyone can see a background image, which is fine. We can put that in there, but it'll be a fixed snippet for you. You'll have your own background. You won't be able to change the background, but you will be able to edit that text over it. So if you do want that, just drop us an intercom with specifics, and we can create that snippet in there for you. Just be aware, things like Outlook might only show a colour as opposed to a full background image. No problem. Any other questions? Or any other questions on the actual Genius blocks in general? No? I'll show you how it's also been launched into our microsite builder. It's exactly the same. So if I go on to edit page, let's go on productivity webinar. And I'm going to edit this particular page. So our new microsite builder will be launched very soon, and this again also includes Genius blocks. So if I scroll down, what I can see, if I click on the eye icon, I can show or hide a Gain to Marketing list in exactly the same way as I can from emails. So what that means is, if you've got 4 different segments, you can send out the email to all 4 different segments, and they will all see their own individual email. If they click from that email, the exact same process can be duplicated on our microsites. So again, we can swap our imagery, we can personalize on their first name and say, hi guys, we're keen to make your most use of our Force 24, and perhaps in the image that in the background is actually displayed to their particular industry. That makes sense so far? Any questions on the microsite builder Genius blocks as well? It's exactly the same as email. It just gives you the extra flexibility as well to push it forward from both email and microsites. No? Got a question? Go on, Kelsey. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of flexibility on form designs, that's what Kelsey's just asked. So in the first iteration of our microsite builder, you'll notice that they're quite fixed, and that's been based on your particular either website or things that we've designed for you. What is also going to be launched in the very near future is Form Builder, and you'll be able to see that on this particular page here. If I scroll down, I should have one I'm able to edit. This is a preview, and it is in build at the minute, so it's not out just yet. And when it is out, we'll have a formal launch for it. But what I'll do is I'll just create a new form for now and call it Lee Test and create. You'll see it's very similar to the microsite builder, but you've got different components. So I might have a headline text, for instance, and I can go in and I can change it. So this is my form as an example. Back to components. I then might have a text box or a submit button or a drop down text or selection. So if I've got multiple selection, I can drag that across, I can put it under my form at the side of the header text, and I can change it. I can change the text. So I don't know, rate us out of 10, for instance, and I might have 1, 2, I can add more, 3, and so on and so forth. I can change the font of this as well, the size. I can create border colours and background colours if I wanted to as well. So if I wanted it to be blue, as an example, I can change all of that within the platform. What that will mean is you're able to build out your own branded forms, store it in particular fields that you might want it to be in. So you can have great control over your own aux fields. When you save and publish it, that will become one of your forms. So if I just put Lee Test for now, and I go back to my microsites, oops, sorry. This will then be a snippet that I'm able to put into the platform. And you'll see I've got the editor. So this is the new editor. This is what it will look like. Some of you have access to it who are beta testing for us. And if you do want early access to it, just again drop us an intercom and one of the account managers will arrange that for you. And then all we would do is we'll be able to insert the form. So you'd add a new form, we'll select it, and we can see there's my lead test. All I do is I select that, call it a form. I can put in the destination URL, which is thanks at the minute. I'll put it into a list, and I can also manage the submissions in exactly the same way that you would do in the previous iteration, and update. And that will now be here. And then I can go in, I can directly change anything I want to, or choose another form. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of how you'll have the flexibility to do so. How can we line it to the side? So that's what you'll manage in your form builder. So you can see at the minute, that's just it's not the best looking form, but I can move that around when I'm building my form. So I've got this is my form, I might move it here. If I'm moving more components, I might put a single selection here, another single selection here. So I can build it how I like to, no problem. Any other questions on that one? Kelsey, just quickly, do you already have access to the new microsite builder out of interest? No, okay, so if anyone does want access to it, like I say, drop us an intercom, we will release it. Just bear in mind, it is in beta testing, so if you're happy to sort of play around with it and notice anything that you see anything with any bugs, just let us know. But if you want to become one of our beta testers, just let us know. I'll close that down. One of the great things you'll be able to do with the forms as well, and what I was saying about the Genius blocks, is that you'll be able to serve different forms to different segments. So let's say, again, we've got 4 different industries, or in fact, let's say we've got a microsite that's going out to prospects and customers. You might push out on social media, so anyone that fills in the form, we want to capture their email address. So we'll serve segment A with that particular form. Segment B, we might have email address, their full name, their full address. But to enhance that data, we can just give them a more simplistic form and maybe just ask them one question about maybe how they use us, what they like about it. And we can separate those different forms based on those different audiences then. I'll save that and exit it. Any further questions? No. Okay. I'll move on to the hosting the PDF as well whilst we're in the microsite builder, because this is very easy to do, and I know a lot of people ask about this. The way it'll work, what I tend to do is I'll create a microsite in the first instance, and this is just, I'll call it form. I'll call it PDF, because this is where I want to actually host my PDFs, and I'm going to click save. I did website. Save. And you'll see now, I've got no pages because I don't want to have any pages, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to manage files. And you'll see at the minute it's empty. In fact, I'll just add a new page. I'll call it home. There we go. If I go and manage files, I can click on root and you can see I've got add assets. If I click on this button, it'll give me the ability to add my own PDF. So I think I've got one on my desktop that I saved earlier. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to select that PDF. So you'll also see what I've done is I've had a little dash in between it. This will be part of the URL, so I tend to try and stay away from spaces when I'm using it in my URL, simply because it'll add in percentage signs, so it looks much cleaner to do it this way. Open. Can I add it? Yep, so I'm going to tick add. That's now here. What I'm going to do now is I need to publish it so it's available online, much like I would a normal microsite. So I'm going to publish to one of my live locations. Click that. And that's going to start now. It's just going to publish this blank page for me. That's successful. If I go back into my microsites, manage those files again, you'll see now I can click on the PDF. If I hover over, I can click Show Public File URL. So there it is. So I've got my landing page, which is my subdomain, the PDF. So this is where I've got PDF.ly. That's the microsite name. And then I've got the PDF followed by that. So if I click on that now, my PDF is hosted. If I then want to include that as a link, all I do is make sure I copy it. I can put that in my emails, or I can add it to a microsite. So if we've got people coming from a form, coming to filling in their details and going to the thanks page to download that PDF, I would add that onto my thanks page. So if I go down here, see I've got a thank you page, edit. And I can add it into a link onto this page right here. All makes sense? Any questions on Microsite Builder or hosting PDFs? No? Perfect. And we do have a help guide on how to do it as well if you do forget, or again, just join us on the intercom and we can talk through the process again. So the other thing I really want to cover is the ability to start to segment your data now. A lot of you will have been with us way past 6 months, and it's very important to keep your data cleansed and healthy. And we do this across many of our clients. A lot of them copy this approach. And it's basically segmenting it via engaged and unengaged contacts. And what I mean by this is anyone that's opening or perhaps viewing your website and actively engaging with you as a brand. So you can see I've got 2 journeys here, and I'll talk you through how I've set them up. I've got engaged contacts, and I'll show you on the settings. Usually, most of the time, you will probably add contacts to the journey the first time they meet the start criteria. What I've done here, I'm adding it every 7 days because this is how often I want my journey to refresh. And if I go in and edit, you see it's very simple. All I'm doing within my start audience is finding out if they're in my master list. So a lot of you will have a list of all your contacts, whether or not their email is active. And then I've added a group where I'm saying, have they opened within the last 90 days? Now it's important to look at this query. So this one's opening date relative, not just opening date. If you pick relative, it means we can select a specific date range, which we've done here. If I select date, all I'm doing is selecting a specific date. So it's important that we click relative. And you see I've got lots of different options. I'm doing before or equal to 90 days in the past. So that means everyone within the last 90 days is going to be added to this marketing list who have opened an email. Click save. You can say I've added it to my engaged pot. I'm removing it from the unengaged pot in case they were in that one already, and ending the journey. Very similar for the unengaged. So if I click on this one, it's basically a duplication, but you see in this instance I've made use of the not filter because now I want to find out everyone that hasn't opened in the last 90 days. They are now filtering, well, that should be add to my unengaged, so they will be filtering into my unengaged list and removing from my engaged list. And what that means is, from your point of view, is if you are sending out regular newsletters or regular communications, you can continue to do so to the people that are opening your emails. So you'll see straight away your open rates will shoot through the roof because you are sending to the people that are actively engaging. Everyone else, we need to start to look at an unengaged strategy. So find out why they're not emailing. Have they ever opened within the last 6 months? You know, what can we do to get them to open? So as an example, if we're sending out offers 4 days of the week, perhaps we want to send out much less comms. So maybe once a week we do a summary, or maybe every 2 weeks we do a summary to those contacts to get them to re-engage. When they re-engage, then we're automatically adding them back into their engaged pot. And as I mentioned, you don't just have to do it on contacts that have opened an email. So if I click back on this, it might be that you're doing it on links. So you can see you've got lots and lots of different options on the drop-down menus. So this one's opened. I can do it on clicked. I can do it on SMS. So if I want to have an engaged list specifically for the mobile numbers that I hold in the system, I can do. Or I can do web activity. So if I go on, and scroll down, web activity, date is relative, I can find out everyone that's been visiting my site in the last 90 days. And usually that would include people that are clicking from an email. Because we've dropped that cookie, we know that they're actively engaging. So there's many ways you can do it. Is there any questions on that? Is there any specifics that people can think of how they want to use it that I can go over perhaps? No? Any questions on Journey Manager in general or the contact search in general? No? Everyone happy with it so far? Cool. I'll close this down then. Cool, okay. So they're the three main points that I wanted to cover this week. Is there any other questions in general that anyone wants to go over? So is there anyone that's having any trouble or anyone that wants to see, greater depth in terms of email builder, Journey Manager, anything at all? Ah. All right, perfect. All right, if everyone's getting on fine, I'll draw this to a close. What we'll do is we'll be able to record the video already, so we'll publish it up on YouTube and pass out the link to everybody. If you do have any other questions, again, just get in touch with us or hop on Intercom and we can go over how we can build out those journeys. Oh, Carly, it says, do you want to present? Is that, sorry? No? Sorry, no worries. No problem at all. But yeah, any other questions, just drop us a note on Intercom and we can go over how to host PDFs or how to build out these engaged contacts. Oh, go on. Yeah, I'll ask a question before we go. Where can you find our previous webinars? So they'll be hosted on our help section. Steve will send them out to you as well, so you've got all the previous ones as well. And then obviously the next one will take place in the next 2 weeks. No problem. Okay. If there's no further questions then, we'll draw this one to a close and hopefully speak to you all soon. Thanks everyone.